This Film, the podcast where we reach back into your childhood, pick out a movie, give it a rewatch, and have a chat about it. I'm Emily Slade, and welcome back. You watched it so many times before, and now you're gonna watch it again. But it's been so many years since you last saw it, and now you show it to your friends, and they're like, What?
What am I watching?
Why this?
What is this?
Why?
Why this film?
And I'm joined today by Maggie. Hello.
Hello.
This is very exciting. You found me on Instagram, I think.
Yes,
and,
yeah.
I'm starting to feel very famous and important when complete strangers asked to come on my podcast. It's very exciting.
Yeah. I think I ran across you. I was religiously searching for people talking about Labyrinth that weren't just dunking on it. So I found that and then was like, oh no, she acts like she talks about movies the same way I do. So
yeah. Yes. So much love for Labyrinth. A lot of people have mentioned that. I don't understand the Labyrinth hate. That is a conversation for another day.
It is.
But the conversation today, I'm so obsessed with my hair right now because we're in quarantine and it's disgusting and I hate it. I need a hat. But the movie is very exciting. The movie is 1993's Jurassic Park. The IMDb breakdown. A pragmatic paleontologist, say that very quickly when you're drunk, visiting an almost complete theme park is tasked with protecting a couple of kids after a power failure causes the park's cloned dinosaurs to run loose. That's a very specific breakdown.
it is, yeah.
Like how, I don't know, I like to see this movie as deep because I've read the book, so I'm like...
Oh, so have I, yeah.
Yay! So why this film?
So I am basically the adult equivalent of Tim Murphy. Like, I, as a child, was obsessed with dinosaurs. Like, every kid has that thing they're into, and for whatever reason, mine was dinosaurs. Like, my mom likes to tell me I could say Pachycephalosaurus at 4.
Wow.
Which is insane. So that was kind of my thing, and also as a child, I was watching a lot of movies that I shouldn't have been at, like, 5, 6 years old.
Yeah.
So for whatever reason, I had like Dinotopia, there was Land Before Time, but for whatever reason, Jurassic Park was the one that stuck, and in part probably because I had a massive childhood crush on Jeff Goldblum as Ian Malcolm. So, like, between him and like Jareth, I don't know what that says about my taste in men, but
yeah, I feel you, man. Like, they gave us these role models, these people, and then what did they expect us to do with them? Go into our adult lives looking for healthy relationships? No,
yeah.
Like, come on.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, no, this film was like, I've religiously seen this film. Like, I can quote parts of it, like, fully offhand. I have a Life Finds a Way tattoo on my side. That was my first tattoo.
Oh my god.
So I'm embarrassingly dedicated to this film. I used to write for, like, right around the time the new Jurassic World movies came out, I was writing for a Jurassic Park, like, news website. Like, that's how into this I am. It's a problem.
Nice. Were you excited about Jurassic World? Were you disappointed with it?
I was excited about the first one, because it was like, this is my childhood, and now I'm just like, okay, like, they're good.
Stop.
I mean, nothing's gonna be the first one, but, they're good.
That's fair. I did not see this movie until I was in university. So
Wow.
I would have been about 18 when I first watched this movie, because it was first year of university, and I sat down and I was like, I'm finally going to watch Jurassic Park. The reason I waited until I was 18 is because we had, I don't know if we still have it somewhere, we might do, we had like a book, you have the like books of the movies, I don't know if it was a making of, it was very slim, like very slim, and it had pictures from the movie in it. And you'd turn the page and there'd be the enormous T-Rex in the rain, and it was very frightening. And then you turn again in a couple of pages' time, and there was the, like, made-up one that spits ink.
Oh, yeah, the Dilophosaurus.
That's the one. Like the dippy dip dill dip dill. And it had the guy with the, like, ink on his face, and it was obviously raining in the still. And that was enough for me to be like, nope, this movie is very, very scary and not for children. I was petrified of the thought of watching it. And all my life, obviously, people have been like, Jurassic Park, Jurassic Park, Jurassic Park, oh my god, it's a classic, oh my god, how have you not seen it? But like, in my head, I was just like, this is terrifying, and I'm not going to watch it. And then, of course, I watched it, and I was like, this is brilliant. Why did I wait so long to watch it? I think I was still scared at 18, because I'd obviously built it up in my head.
Yeah.
So then when Jurassic World came about, I was obsessed with it, because it had a female lead, and I was still liking Chris Pratt at that time. He hadn't pissed me off entirely. And so I was like, this is cool. This is what everyone always talks about when they talk about Jurassic Park. This is how people feel. And then the more I've watched Jurassic Park, and then the more I've watched Jurassic World, I've been like, oh, Jurassic World's a piece of shit.
Oh, and
Jurassic Park is where it's at. So that's my, like, backstory on Jurassic Park. So I don't have any, like, nostalgia towards it. And then I read the book, like, a couple years back, and I was like, this is amazing. So, yeah, I have a very disconnected relationship with it. So I'm interested to see, was this something like, you said, like, you watched it consistently, and so you almost grew up with it. So I guess when you do that, do you tend to have your opinions about certain things change over time?
I think so. Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a certain amount of nostalgia I associate with this movie, and it's definitely one of, like, my favorite movies, and it's one of the best movies I've ever seen. I think partially because I'm such a fan of, like, practical effects, and literally nothing is ever going to beat those dinosaurs.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think when I was watching it the other day, I was like, that was kind of like the foundation for my feminism, was like the woman inherits the earth thing, and now I'm like, oh, there's some yikesy bits in this, the way they sort of structure it. I mean, and I'm like, part of it's a product of its time, but part of it's like, my feminism is too loud for this.
Yeah, it's very interesting, and I'm gonna keep bringing up the book. I'm really sorry, because that's...
Oh no, please do.
Because, as you know, in the book, for those of you who haven't read it, it's much more, like, 90% of the people die. Like, almost everybody dies. It's less about, like, oh, let's try out what it'd be like if we had kids. And more like, I've chosen to make a theme park out of these dinosaurs because that is how you make money.
Exactly,
I could give this to science or technology or try and progress or make the world a better place. I just want to make money. And that's what the book is about. And therefore, it's, like, awful and trash and brilliant and wonderful, and I love it. But this was a lot more family friendly, and it still had its, like, themes and its, like, blah 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 blah. But Richard Hammond was like, is that his name?
Yeah.
Was like, it's because he's Richard Attenborough. Someone was like, Richard Hammond. Might be something else.
No, it's John Hammond. I'm dumb.
Yeah, no. This is the thing. I was like, oh, Richard Hammond. And everyone's like, who the fuck are you talking about? Richard Attenborough playing John Hammond. John Hammond is, like, cuddly in this.
Yeah.
And in the book, he's like a monster. So I always found that really interesting. Something I read up, as I'm sure you did too, Harrison Ford was offered the role of Sam Neill. And he turned it down because... Was he offered the role of Sam Neill, or was he offered the role of Jeff Goldblum?
I think he was offered Alan Grant. I think, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, Dr. Alan Grant, and he turned it down because he said he wasn't right for the role. And then upon seeing the movie, he agreed with himself, because that's the kind of thing Harrison Ford does. This would be a whole different movie if Harrison Ford was Alan Grant, and I think it would suck.
Oh yeah. I think it would be much more like... It would be an Indiana Jones movie. It would be very much an action movie, whereas I think this, like you said, the book is very much fuck capitalism.
Yeah.
And the movie has themes of that, but I think if you had put, like, an action star, because this was made in the, mid-90s, so this was post-Star Wars, this was post-Indiana Jones. Like, if you had put him in there, it would have just been like, watch Harrison Ford save a bunch of people, whereas this is like, watch a bunch of people try not to die for 2 hours.
That's such a good way to describe it. That really is what it is. Even though they're all experts, they're experts in stuff that is not helpful when you're being chased by a monster. Whereas you feel that Harrison Ford, a T-Rex, I fucking battle them all the time. Like, that's what you would feel if you saw Harrison Ford do it. You're completely right. Sam Neill, like, it's pitch perfect casting. And I don't know if it's because I've never really thought about it before, but, like, to me it really does seem like they got the right people for the job.
Mhm.
Sam Neill feels like, I'm shocked that he's not a paleontologist in real life, because he just exudes it. And Laura Dern is perfect in everything she's ever in.
Oh, absolutely.
So let's talk about your friend and mine. We had a shower curtain in my old house when I had a flat share with my friend until I moved back home. We had a shower curtain of Jeff Goldblum. So I'm with you.
Oh my god, that's fantastic.
Yeah.
I've seen them, but I've never known anybody that actually owned one.
Oh yeah. And I would like make sure to pull it across whenever we had guests. So every time they went into the bathroom, they'd be like, "Ah! Why is Jeff Goldblum looking at me?"
Yeah.
Because you deserve it.
He's actually so I'm from Pittsburgh in Pennsylvania, and he's actually from probably like half an hour from where I live, which is wild. I didn't know that growing up, and then I found out, and I was like, well, this explains a lot.
His choices in this movie are iconic. Why does he talk the way he does? Why did they get someone with... It's like either Jeff Goldblum or like, oh my god, what's his name? Christopher Walken. Like, they chose people, like... he has monologue after monologue, and it's the same in the book, about like chaos theory and all of these different things, and they've chosen someone that has such a bizarre way of speaking to deliver these lengthy passages of like thought and concept. I mean, it's bizarre, and I just feel that it wouldn't happen today. Like,
it's not the kind of character that like exists now, because he's very intelligent, but he gives off such like not quite fuckboy vibes, but like I don't like, as an adult, Ian Malcolm is the kind of guy I would like knife fight behind a Denny's, but like he's very intelligent, and I'm like, how do you reconcile those two things that well?
Yeah, it's bizarre that like, I also feel, and I know they technically have remade it and they kind of didn't do this, but I would feel that if they were to remake Jurassic Park, they would cast these people so much younger than they are.
Oh, yeah.
You feel that these people have lived lives and educated themselves and had jobs, and they've gotten professionals in their field to come in and take a look at this theme park. It's a brilliant concept. It really is. And like, Jurassic World is, I guess, technically closer to the book because it's more about like capitalism and that stuff. Whereas this is such an interesting concept. Like, it's so simple, and it has the ability to do so much good with it. Yeah. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely, yeah.
Oh my god. I mean, what is there to say? Like, I don't think I've met someone that doesn't like Jurassic Park, or even if they didn't enjoy it, they respect it for what it is.
It's got that, like, I think partially because it's a Spielberg film, you know, it's got the weight behind it. I also discovered, I can't remember where I figured this out, but he was working on Schindler's List the same time he was working on Jurassic Park. Like, he was editing Schindler's List and was going, or it was either he was editing Schindler's List or he was editing Jurassic Park, and like bouncing between the two because Schindler's List was so depressing that he was like, I need something that doesn't make me feel like that.
Oh, wow. Which
is just wild when you think about it.
That's insane. Completely different spectrum movies. That's completely insane. It's got so much going on, this movie, and it doesn't have to. I compare everything nowadays to if it was made today, and we've technically seen Jurassic World made today, and it does suck because there is nothing going on. And that's the trouble with these movies. You have, the basic concept is that they're coming in to have a look at this park to make sure that it's okay, and then the dinosaurs get out. They could have done like a slasher horror with this and like called it a day. But they've got all of these different, like, relationships building, all of these different theories coming out, all wonderful little moments. Like, when he's eating all the ice cream in the restaurant, like, it's so heartbreaking. Like, it's a true bit of, like, acting. And then you got some of the greatest, like, groundbreaking CGI special effects.
Oh my god, yeah.
The animatronics are to die for. That kitchen scene, which you now see in like Crunchy Nut cereal adverts. Like, it's just homaged and redone, and It's so famous and so it's still tense to this day. I've seen it a million times. I don't know if you're the same. Like, I still like jump and freak out when he like headbutts the oven and it was her reflection.
Oh yeah,
like,
that's such a brilliant shot. I think one thing that does put me off of that scene now though is that the boy who played Tim grew up to be, he's in Bohemian Rhapsody, he's the bassist in Bohemian Rhapsody, and so in a bunch of interviews he was talking about shooting that, and apparently they shot it on his birthday, and the Raptors had like, they were mostly sort of like that weird sort of synthetic skin, but they had metal claws, and one apparently just like bonked him on the forehead and knocked him out. So like every time, I don't know if it makes it more tense for me or it takes me out of it, but I'm just like, I think of that every time. I'm like, oh no.
Oh man, that is the trouble when these movies get such acclaim and grow older and older. You can't help but watch them whilst being like, that's a chocolate sauce going down the shower drain there. It's milk mixed in with the rain there, everyone. It's milk in the rain because the rain wouldn't show. You know, Gene Kelly had a fever. Like, it's impossible. It's so annoying.
Yeah,
I'm that person. That's me. I sit there and I'm like, you will need to know what's going on right now behind the scenes. And they're like, can I just watch the movie? No, you
Oh, absolutely. Especially with Jurassic Park, because the special effects are so good. Like, thinking about it compared to Jurassic World, I think Jurassic World loses a lot because everything is CGI. I'm like, I know they're acting to sticks, whereas like when the kids are in the car and the T-Rex like breaks that glass panel, that's real genuine terror because there's a giant machine above them. You can't replicate that. Yeah, you can see it. You can like feel it.
They're pushing up against something that exists, and even if it is just a big head on a stick, the head is still there.
It's like, still a head on a stick.
I don't know that I could have done it. I would have been terrified. Like, the dinosaurs themselves scared me anyway, which was weird because I feel now is the time to tell you that I have a Stegosaurus collection. I collect Stegosauruses.
Brilliant.
So I don't dislike dinosaurs. There was just some dinosaurs in Jurassic Park that I was like, fuck those guys. They're scary.
Fuck the Dilophosaurus in particular.
Fucking Dilophosaurus. Who made that up? Who was like, you know what we need? And I watch, because I'm really cool and have lots of friends, I watch the like Universal Studios Jurassic Park ride, like POV front seat, like log flume thing. Can't watch it properly. Always have to like hide the screen behind another screen when it gets to the end bit with the T-Rex. But they have the like Dilophosaurus. Am I saying that correctly?
Yes, you are.
Yes. Bit, and it like spits water, but I'm still just like, stop it, like you're triggering me, like this is
yeah, like I've been on that ride down in Florida and I was terrified of the Dilophosaurus because I was like, get out of my face, and then I've went on it probably 6 or 7 times throughout my life before they closed it, and I never looked at the T-Rex. I was like, nope, this is, I was like convinced it was gonna get me even at like 16. I was like, I can't do it.
I couldn't, and again, it comes back to it being physically there.
Yeah.
Like, I think they turned it into a Jurassic World ride. I don't know if that's
they
still
did,
there,
yeah.
Which is such a shame because I rewatched it. Quarantine. What else are you gonna do? We went to the theme parks one day, and it was just watching POV videos of the theme park things. And we watched it sort of back to back, and you could see where they'd kept the Jurassic Park stuff and where they'd sort of replaced it with Jurassic World stuff, and they just took away all the charm and imagination of the Jurassic Park ride, and just literally painted over it so it was blank and there was nothing there, and it was really a shame. Still scary though. Like, same. The minute we would start going upwards, I would just shut my eyes. I would like pretend I was still like enjoying it, but my eyes would be closed if I was I was there on it.
Yeah.
And that's the thing about this movie, I think, that makes it so timeless, is because they're visceral, they're tangible, there's practical effects, and there's everything needs to be done with practical effects all the time.
Absolutely.
And it just isn't, and it sucks. And this is when the animatronic Velociraptor comes out of the thing and he's like, clever girl, and you're like, he's actually gonna get eaten because there's a dinosaur there. And it's so, and you can, I don't know, I've not ever seen anyone be picky or fussy about them. Like, everyone always dicks on the shark from Jaws. But I've not really heard people dick on the dinosaurs from Jurassic Park in the same way. Yeah.
I feel like watching it the other day, I was like, yeah, there's definitely some CGI that's like a little bit outdated, but you know, like it's not like, and then to go back to Labyrinth, to use that example of like people bitch on the like fireys because you can see that it's a CGI background, and I've never heard anybody do that with Jurassic Park. I don't know if it's just because they're scared to, because I feel like Jurassic Park is one of those movies that if you speak anything against, people are like, blasphemy, and until I was about 21 and I wised up, I was also like that.
Yeah.
But yeah, it just feels like one of those movies that like, yeah, the CGI is a little outdated, but like, I think because so much of it is practical that you can't really be like,
This is the thing, and like they never look clunky, they never look clumsy.
Yeah.
They look really, really good. Like clearly a lot of money went into them, and you're right, even when it does go to CGI, it's still nowhere near as bad. And this is 1993.
Yeah.
My go-to to compare is always the fucking troll in the Philosopher's Stone, or the first Harry Potter. Piece of shit CGI, and that was 2001, and that does not hold up whatsoever. This stuff still holds up. It's insane.
Yeah.
Like, someone will be listening and will know exactly how much money was spent on this movie, and I technically have IMDb up right now and I could look at it, but it doesn't interest me because money sucks and we should eat the rich. But
fuck capitalism, like Michael Crichton said.
Literally, love him so much. It's so well structured and well paced. It is over 2 hours. Usually I'm like, you better have a bloody good reason to be over 2 hours, especially for a kids movie. But then, is this a kids movie? It's PG out here, which is parental guidance. Which I think, yeah. Do you know what that means?
What is it rated in this country?
Yeah, and PG is like above you. Like there's like Universal, which I think is your G rated.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then it's the next one up. So it's sort of like age, maybe like 7, maybe 5.
Okay, it's PG-13 here, so that's interesting. Yeah. So it's, and I think like I wouldn't classify, and maybe this is me talking because I was watching things that I was way too young for, but like there's nothing really, aside from, you know, like the terror of children almost being eaten by T-Rexes, there's no real like, there's nothing really like super scary aside from maybe like Sam Jackson's arm just like flopping out at the end.
Scary.
That's the worst part. I'm just like, I don't want to see a disembodied human. Which, like, to credit this film, I feel like they're really good about making it's very Dracula, like it's very tense without having to be like bodies. Whereas like the one thing that pisses me off about the Jurassic World movie is that shot where, one, because it's CGI and it looks fake, where the like dinosaur had gotten out, I don't even remember what it was called, but you see that like pan shot of just like dead dinosaurs across a field, and I'm like, why did we need that? This is for children.
So unnecessary. And I know it's talked about a lot. I feel like we should bring it up because I fucking loathe it, especially because the director has like tried to justify it and it made it worse. How they're like, nanny, I guess, the woman that she is like, look after my kids. The director was like, haha, she's a bridezilla, because you can hear her on the phone talking about her hen do. And that is why she gets punished with the most drawn-out, disgusting death of all time. And it is so unnecessary. And it's not gory, but it is so unnecessary. And,
exactly, yeah.
And it is a punishment. It is, like, canonically a punishment, which is so awful.
Yeah.
None of that in Jurassic Park. No one is,
absolutely
punished except the people that fucking deserve to be. Like, the lawyer that ran away from the kids. Fucking whatever his name is, that fucking dickhead who I can't watch him in. And I had to watch Space Jam for this podcast, and he turned up in it, and I was like, boo, boo.
Dude, I'm not sure who you're talking about. Which one are you talking about? Like, I know the lawyer. I'm trying to, because I have the that. Yes, no. I know he's in other things, but in my brain, he is always just the dude from Jurassic Park.
Yes.
And it's funny you mention him because like that scene in the book is so much more intense than it is in the movie. Like, I mean, this might be a little gory for this podcast, but like, I don't remember most of that book, but I remember like the thing blinds him and then like he can feel his own intestines in his hands. And I'm like, oh, okay. I read that. I remember reading that in like, because I read this book in middle school. Like, yeah, thanks, Mom. But like, I remember rereading it like 6 times. Like, okay. So like, the movie actually does tone down a lot of the book. I mean, because in the book, Malcolm dies. You know, Hammond dies. Hammond gets like eaten. Literally. So it's just like this film does a really good job of being tense without having to be like horror movie deaths, like the book is.
It's so true. They really get that perfect line of like suspense, tension, fear, but there's no real blood that I can think of. There's no... And they were probably drawn back partly by possible censorships, partly by possible lack of ability to. Maybe they didn't want to do it if it was going to look fake or whatever. And there's no, like, real swearing. There's no, like, nudity. There's no sex. There's not really anything like that. It is... The scariest thing are the dinosaurs themselves, and they are scary. Like, it's just come up with the picture of the T-Rex in the rain. Like, oh, does it look good? Because you know it's there as well. Like, it's real.
Yeah.
And it's, get off my screen. It's so scary. Oh, man, it just... I'm not surprised that it's a PG, but... But yeah, I was too scared to watch it until I was 18, so...
No, that's completely fair. There are definitely movies that I was like that. I think I was just, like, indoctrinated from a very young age, you know, watching like, action movies that had a lot more going on than just, like, running from dinosaurs. So, my position on this is very skewed.
It's bizarre, though. I basically got a TV in my room when I was, like, 13, 14... biggest event of my life, because then I watched A Clockwork Orange and like Old Boy, and I was watching these. I watched A Clockwork Orange and Old Boy, the obviously Korean one, before I watched Jurassic Park, and I was too scared to watch Jurassic Park, but I was watching that stuff like it was not even a problem. Really strange. So there was something, it was that book, it must have been that book, but there was something about Jurassic Park that I was like, no, that's too scary, but I will go and watch A Clockwork Orange.
Yeah.
I learned my life
I don't know.
values from that.
I mean, this is sort of not too similar, but there was a ride at Disney World when I was a kid that was like a Snow White ride, but it was a dark ride, and there was this one particular bit where the queen was like looking in the mirror, and then she turns around and she's I was terrified of that. I think they demolished it when I was 16, and I was terrified of it till it like died.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I've only been to one Disney park. It was Disneyland Paris. We were there for about an hour because we sang on the Fantasyland stage, and then we had like an hour in the park, and we went on the indoor dark Snow White ride. And you know what it is? She's looking in the mirror and she sort of goes clunk, and like it's that sort of like clunky. And it's dark, and there's those horrible vultures with like lights in their eyes. I literally, who are you? Are you me? Like, I know exactly what you're talking about, and I know exactly the feeling that you are currently experiencing.
Oh, I'm so glad, because my mother makes fun of me for that. But it's like the feeling of like, this is irrational, but it shouldn't be, but I am. So, and then you're like, as an adult, you're like, this is dumb.
Yeah. People, I get the same reactions, but I know exactly what you mean. It's that visceralness, it's that like, and the story adds, I think, to why this is scary as well, because there's so much build up and there's so much like bum 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 bum, oh no, they've managed to make more dinosaurs, bum 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 bum, you bred raptors. Like, I spent the first 10 minutes of this movie terrorizing a kid about how scary raptors are, and now you've got raptors. So even though the T-Rex is the like big old Deus Ex dinosaur, the raptors are the true villains of this movie, I think.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I think you are meant to like, because she comes back in the Jurassic World like a hero. She's like, she saves the day, doesn't the T-Rex? Yeah. In Jurassic World. So I think you are meant to be like, hooray for the T-Rex, she's our friend. Fuck the raptors. Oh my god, just side note about how the whole movie of Jurassic World, they were like, bam, bam, what's gonna be the dinosaur mix? What did we put in the recipe for the big scary dinosaur? And I was like, ooh, maybe it's like human, because like, that would be cool and different.
I think that was actually a concept thing for the film. Like, they were gonna like, it was gonna be part human, and then they were like, we're gonna make it boring.
Literally, because I was like, it's not going to be raptor, because like it looks like a raptor, and it would be really obvious that it was a raptor, and everybody knows raptors, Jurassic Park, blah blah blah, raptor. Like, don't be a raptor, that's dumb. And then it was like, it's a raptor. We were like, oh, okay, yeah, we guessed. Thanks, Jurassic World, for being shit.
Like, there's so many other dinosaurs. I mean, and this might just be my encyclopedic knowledge, but I would be more scared of, like, a giant version of the thing that spits venom at you than I would be of a raptor, just because, like, you see them in every movie.
Literally, like, they're so overdone. I think I haven't watched it. I just Wikipedia'd the summary of it. The like second Jurassic World one, spoiler alert, I think the like little girl in that is like a clone.
She is. I've seen it.
But they've
it's
like,
not great.
Somehow managed to. Blah, I don't care. But the other Jurassic Park movies, 2 to 4, before we hit Jurassic World, were they good? Mm-hmm. Did you like them as much?
I think they don't hold, obviously nothing holds up to the first one, but I think like Lost World, which is the second one, that's also based on like the Michael Crichton sequel, so that one holds up pretty well. The third one's kind of cheesy, but it's because it's a little more CGI dinosaurs, you know, it's a little like, because it came out, I think it was like 93, 95, and then like 2001, so there was like a gap. But I think because it still has the original characters and it's not just shoving them in there for like nostalgia bait, like I feel like it works. I feel like it, because they're all survival stories, whereas like Jurassic World is very much like I was saying before, like about Harrison Ford, it would have turned into an action movie. Like Jurassic World is very much an action movie, whereas the original 3 are very much, they're still survival films. I think the second one has a little bit of a weird setup because they bring a T-Rex to San Diego, but it is still it's not like I mean, even if you can compare it to Godzilla. Godzilla is still like a survival movie. It's still got that element of like tensity that you don't get in an action movie, because you know that like, Chris Pratt's gonna come save the day, or like whatever the hell her name is, the lady. Yeah. Which like I have a problem with the feminism in those movies too, because they're like, oh, we're gonna continue this like legacy of strong female characters, and I'm like, no, because she's running away from a T-Rex in a tank top. Ugh.
Yeah, I didn't mind. I like controversial. Like I quite like that she's running in heels, because some people can do that. I can't. And so I'm like, wow, look, a super person. I really liked her character. What I didn't like was how you were meant to feel about her character. Yeah. I was like, fuck what you're putting on this character. The character. And I'm going to pretend she doesn't hook up with Chris Pratt. But the character, she's like a strong-headed businesswoman that has dragged this park from a tragedy to a fucking triumph, and she's completely in charge of everything, and she's running it completely smoothly. And everyone's like, Claire, you don't want kids, that makes you a bad woman. It's like, wow, can you all fuck off? Like, what 14-year-old have you ever met that walks up to their aunt and goes, ugh, not like we ever see you, Aunt Claire? Like, what 14-year-old boy fucking gives a shit if he's seen his aunt before or not? Like,
exactly,
what?
Yeah.
What? But the character of Claire, as she's played by, I think, Bryce Dallas Howard. I get those, all the gingers in Hollywood mixed up. I'm not gonna lie. There's like 3, and I'm like, that one. I like her like white outfit. I think it's super cute. I like how it gets disheveled to show her taking a more hands-on approach. Like, I didn't mind that, because I liked the sort of like, these are animals as opposed to blah blah blah. I thought it was obvious, but it worked to have the army be like, we need to put guns on these things and send them into Iraq or whatever. I was like, yeah, it's a movie and you spent 3 seconds thinking of the plot, whatever. But yeah, if there'd been less Chris Pratt and more Bryce Dallas Howard, and this concept of almost like running a zoo, and the morality around that, and how accurate you can get the plantation, and like, because that's what's really interesting about the first one, how Laura Dern's whole shtick is that she's good with plants, and she's like, this plant should be extinct, and that's the first thing we learn before we even see the Diplodocuses, or Brachiosauruses.
I don't remember, honestly.
Because I think we called them Diplodocuses for years. Like, we had Pluto was a planet back in my day. And then one day they were like, a Diplodocus doesn't exist. They're just all Brachiosauruses. Also, Pluto is now, like, a dwarf planet. Fuck off. And we were like, stop! But then I also grew up in a time where they were like, the T-Rex were predators, and they would, like, hunt for their food. And then later on someone was like, the T-Rex has, like, tiny little arms and a big old snout. He wasn't hunting anyone. He was scavenging. So they had to, like, cross out all the textbooks and be like, scavenger. And then the best thing that ever happened was at the Natural History Museum in London. They had like animatronic like velociraptors in the dinosaur exhibit, and a big old T-Rex at the end that everyone queued up for, and it would roar over a corpse. It was all very exciting because it's a museum, but like fun. And the little velociraptors would be there, and they'd be very frightening as you're like going along the bridge to the T-Rex. They'd be like, wah, wah. And then one day someone turned around and was like, actually, I think you'll find that all of the dinosaurs were less like lizards and more like birds. So they were like, cool. We want to make this more historically like accurate for the people coming to our museum to learn. So they literally got like a chicken onesie and like just shoved it on all the like velociraptor animatronics. It looks so bad, and I'm obsessed with it. I'm gonna get some pictures.
Yeah, I have actually been. I have been to the museum in London because I lived there for a while last year,
Nice.
and I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, it was insane. And they used to be normal. They used to be normal. Like, they used to be just the velociraptors, and now they have chicken.
Well, it's funny because in my brain I was slightly disappointed because I got excited thinking it was going to be the bones because I'm a nerd, and I was like, oh, T-Rex skeleton, because I grew up like the museum near me has a really wonderful like dinosaur exhibit, and I was like, oh hell yeah, bones, and it was an animatronic, and I was like, damn it. I was like disappointed.
Yeah, there's like nothing in the dinosaur exhibit. It's all like plaster casted plasticine dinosaur figurines, and a gift shop. Like that's it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's disappointing. Did you go there when they had the big dinosaur skeleton in the foyer, or did you have the whale?
I had the whale, yeah, because I was there from January to May of last year.
Okay.
So, and I just lived in museums because I did nothing else with my life.
Nice. It's good. But yeah, it's a little about. I mean, I've talked a lot about.
That's fine.
This movie.
If I could say one thing about this film, it is John Williams' best score, and I will die on that hill.
That is
like, it's better than Star Wars.
Oh my god, yeah. So much is better than Star Wars. Fuck Star Wars, man. Like, everyone needs to calm down about Star Wars.
Yeah. But no, yeah, like the score, especially like not only just like the theme, but the way that they use it in the film, like the scene, like the whole welcome to Jurassic Park, and then it pans out over all the dinosaurs. It's like that makes me feel things, and I know I've seen this 1,000 times, but it's like, it's so good.
Literally, it's incredible. It's such a well thought out score. I read something about it. Let me find it. And you're absolutely right. It completely evokes emotion, and not just from like nostalgia, not from just like blah blah blah. Here we go. John Williams scored the movie at the end of February 93 and recorded it a month later. He felt he needed to write pieces that would convey a sense of awe and fascination, given that it dealt with the overwhelming happiness and excitement that would emerge from seeing live dinosaurs. He gets it.
He does.
He completely gets it. That's exactly what that music sounds like, and it's so famous. Everybody knows the music to Jurassic Park. Everybody.
For years, I had my ringtone for my like when I got calls, when we could still do those like custom ringtones, was the theme, and then I pissed my mother off like 3 months of my life. My text tone was the T-Rex roar, so you would hear my phone from across the house. It was this loud ass T-Rex, I'd get a phone call and people would be like, it's Maggie's phone because I have a brand.
That's amazing. That's literally so cool. I love when you used to be able to customize your ringtones. That was...
Now I haven't had my phone on ringer since, 2013.
Literally. Oh, man. But yeah, anything else to say, really?
How do you feel, because this is the question that I had thinking about it, how do you feel about them bringing back, like, the original, like, trio for the new ones? Because to me, it feels like nostalgia bait, because Laura Dern has an Oscar now. Let her live her life. Like, it feels very much like, especially just because it's like, Jurassic Park was such a one-off that trying to replicate it in any way, even with the original actors, is gonna feel weird, because like it was such a, like, even in Fallen Kingdom or whatever the last one was called, like the second one, Jeff Goldblum was there, but he was there for 5 seconds to be Jeff Goldblum. He didn't contribute anything to the story, and I don't know if that's going to be the case for the new ones, but it's still going to feel like you're inserting characters that don't belong here into like, because if you wanted them there, you would have had them there from the beginning. you know, you would have had Alan Grant being like, this is a bad idea, I told you so, and now you're gonna do the third one, and then it's just gonna be like, yeah, because we wanted Sam Neill back, but he's been busy, you know, working with Taika Waititi doing things that are much better than this.
Stuff. I had no idea. I've just Googled it to see what the fuck is happening, and oh my god, I'm sorry to tell everyone that she's right. Jurassic World Dominion is set to come out in 2021, and yeah, the cast list has award-winning Laura Dern, Jeff Goldblum, Sam Neill, and Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard. This sucks. That sucks. What they're trying to do, I liked that they brought back BD Wong.
Yes.
That was it.
I thought that worked, yeah.
That was fine. You can do that. Don't do anything else. I really like, thing is, Jurassic World is fine. Like, when I first watched it, I really, really, really enjoyed it. I loved everything about it. I thought it was awesome. And then I was, like, slowly like, okay, so it's not that good, but, like, it's fine. Did not need a sequel whatsoever. Was just, the whole point of Jurassic Park is that it's like, fuck you, capitalism. And this just stinks of capitalism. I am disappointed in the agents of Sam, Laura, and Jeff that were like, you should take this. Or, like, even dared to fucking send them the script or ring them up about the concept. And then maybe they, I don't know, if you'd done something back in the day and you were being convinced that what they were doing was respectful and good, then perhaps, or maybe you don't even care about the integrity or respect of the original material. Maybe you just really enjoy playing these characters and you think it would be really fun to reprise them. Maybe it's that. So I can understand why people would agree to do it, but it stinks of like, hey, Star Wars did it, we can do it now too.
Well, Star Wars didn't, you know, successfully do it, so.
They fucking failed at it.
Yeah. I think that's the problem with, like, all of these reboots now. And I am very much in the camp of, like, if you get any amount of enjoyment out of it, you can consider it a good movie. I've watched some trash in my life that I love. Yeah. But, like, that's the problem with these reboots is that, like, the concept of just, like, continuing, because the concept of, like, continuing the world that Jurassic Park built is fascinating. Because there's so much moral and ethical stuff that you can pull from the original novel. But the problem is that nobody wants to continue the world. They just want to see these people doing the same thing over and over again, even if it means, you know, the plot suffering or just the entire thing collapsing around them.
And it's so sad that people don't care about what makes a film good, or people don't seem to realize that what makes a film good is every single aspect of it. The story, the actors are the last bit, to be honest. As an actor myself, I am very aware that we are the most replaceable and shit part of the movie. Like, we are the last people that get put in, and you can tell the movies that get made from the actor outwards tend to suck.
Exactly.
It's the movies that get made from the outwards inwards, and the actors are the sprinkling, not even the icing, the sprinkling on top. The sprinkling can sometimes be the best bit, and they're definitely the bit that everybody sees and talks about. But like, it's dumb. It's so annoying. I'm really disappointed in them all.
I know. It's like, and maybe they're just doing it because they're like, this will be fun. But I'm still like, especially just because, like, and maybe if the films had been better, I wouldn't have a problem with it. But like, just from a standpoint of like, you know, and I keep rounding back to my feminism because like Ellie Sattler was like my feminist icon as a little kid. Like, I am self-described angry feminist, but like she was like, because they didn't sexualize her, they let her do her shit. You know, she has that line of like, we'll discuss sexism in survival situations when I get back, which you never hear in anything. So she was like this foundational character for me. And then you get Claire, who I love as a character. Like in Jurassic World, I love her. But then she sort of morphs into this like dinosaur activist because clearly we can't have strong women that aren't like, you know, hippies, but not that that's a bad thing, but like, you know, we can't have the strong businesswoman type without it being, you know, bad. And like to just bring Ellie into that, and I'm like, no, if you ruin her, I will stand on your lawn with a megaphone and I will yell.
Yeah, literally, I agree. Like, I don't understand how these two people are gonna mix. Like, what's Dr. Ellie Sattler doing nowadays? Like, also, like, they're gonna have to answer the question that no one needed answering. Did they have kids? And, like, Sam Neill was in the third one. Was he even with Laura Dern?
She's in it for 5 seconds, and in that one, she's married to somebody else, and she has a kid with somebody else. Oh. So, like, there's that whole thing, and I'm like, I don't know if you're gonna address that, or what. Or, I think like, what might be more, yeah. What would have been more interesting to me would have been, I know that the woman who played the little girl doesn't act anymore, but like I mentioned earlier, the kid that played Tim is grown up. He's an actor. He's doing other things now. What would be more interesting would be to bring him back and be like, what is his perspective on this as an adult, considering that there's, you know, like childhood trauma associated with it.
Surrounding something that you were obsessed with as well. Like, talking of feminism in Jurassic Park as well, as you know, in the book, the girl was, I think, obsessed with the dinosaurs and the boy was the computer geek, and they switched it to make the girl super good at computers, and it's amazing, and I love it.
Yes, that's I think one of the best, like, because it's such a good adaptation, but the things they changed were so like spot on, and I think that was a good move. Choice. I think it was entirely because they wanted Ariana Richards and she was older, but I'm still like, yes, good, very good, because as a 7-year-old watching that, I was like, fuck yeah!
Yeah.
Fuck yeah, she's the one that saves them from being ripped to shreds.
Literally, she does. She literally saves the entire day. I think that's a really good idea. I would love to put Tim in it, because I'm shocked that, because they briefly mention it in Jurassic World, where like the guy from New Girl has got the Jurassic Park original t-shirt.
Yeah.
And she's like, that's super disrespectful. People died. And now they're going to bring these characters in who you're telling me that after their experience weren't like picketing outside the theme park when it first opened, going, fuck you all, you stupid morons. Who did they get in the first place to make sure that Jurassic World worked? How did? Because this is the thing. These were questions that you didn't mind that they didn't answer because it was so derived from the original. And like, we had the bit where they like went into the old park, but that was more to be like, there you go, have your wank, let's get back to the new movie. And so you didn't really ask, why did they choose the same island? Why did they blah, 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 blah? Like, why is it blah, blah, blah? And now by bringing these characters in, you've suddenly opened up a can of worms that you hadn't bothered to address, that you're now still not going to address, and it's going to piss me off. Because why were all these people who went through this trauma not aware of this park being made, and were instantly like, this is stupid. Who did you get in to check it when it first opened? Who funded it? Who agreed it? Like, blah, 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 blah. Like, how has this even worked? Everyone was just cool with it because it was like, it's a new Jurassic Park movie, hooray! And now you're melding the two worlds. You're going to have to address that, and I don't trust you to, because what doesn't seem to have someone went, what was super popular back in the day? Jurassic Park. Everyone loved that. We should do that again. We'll get, like, numbers. We'll get money. Well, yeah, that'll be good. That's a good business decision. No one was like when My Little Pony first came out, there was a little girl that used to sit with them and like make up characters for them and make up stories for them. She then grew up to herald the new My Little Pony TV series, which as we all know was a massive, massive hit with lots of different audiences. But it was genuinely successful, and people genuinely talk about the expert storytelling and the wonderful characterization, and because it came from a place of love. It came from a place where this person loved it as a kid and took that respect forward into their adult life and made something new and brilliant that she could share with younger generations. Jurassic World felt like a cash grab, and now it feels like an even bigger cash grab. And as someone that like builds their empire on nostalgia, my podcast is all about nostalgia, and I love nostalgia, but I don't like it when it's taken too far. Stranger Things should have ended at season 1.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, all of these things, they're just like, quick, make money off nostalgia, because the millennials can't afford houses, so they'll buy our stupid movies instead. When really all they're doing is starting arguments. Like, I don't know anyone that will fight and die on the hill of Jurassic World. And that's the thing, they don't make movies to die on the hills of anymore.
They don't, and I think maybe if, you know, because Michael Crichton died, I think, either when I was a baby or before I was born, but, like, if he had still been around, if he had worked on these scripts, maybe I would like it, but kind of the like, knowledge that you're basically stamping on his grave because this was his, like, you know, this was the pinnacle of his, like, career, is like, that feels a little disrespectful, especially because so much of his like the thesis of like all of his books, like not even just because I've read a lot of his stuff, like not just Jurassic Park, not just Lost World, the thesis of a lot of his stuff is fuck capitalism. So it's just like, it's so frustrating. And it's just like, I'm just gonna go rewatch the movie that I like 1,000 times and live in, like, if you want to live in nostalgia, watch the original thing.
Literally. They re-released it, didn't they, for the anniversary in the cinema? Just keep doing that. Just keep
exactly.
bringing it back to the cinemas. Like, all of them, like, don't remake them, don't rejig them, because you just suck at it. Unless you can guarantee that you're going to get someone to do so. Like, the reason Thor Ragnarok was so successful is because it took someone that, like, knew what they were fucking talking about.
Exactly,
Rather than someone that was like, how do we make money out of this?
Yeah. I think there's, like, I think a solid example of, like, playing in the world and it's still working is, like, the Dark Crystal series. Like, it's I had trouble finishing it because it was a little boring, but it didn't feel like nostalgia bait, because it was like, here's this world that you wanted to know more about as a kid.
Yeah.
Let's build on that. You know, and it's entirely new characters. It has, I mean, you kind of know how it's going to end because of, you know, Dark Crystal, but like, you're still invested in a world that you liked without it being, you know, like, here's a way to make money. It feels different because there's no Jim Henson, but it still feels like a valuable piece of like a valuable piece of art and a valuable piece of nostalgia.
It's such a good point. It's so true. I too have not yet finished Dark Crystal because I found it very boring. But like, I was a big fan of what they were doing, but as we've both kind of justified, like, it's not successful in the same way. I know a lot of people that were like, I really loved that they did it. I really loved watching the behind the scenes. I really loved where they went with the story and how they did it. But I'm not hearing anyone be like, oh, yeah, Dark Crystal Renaissance Resurgence, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Like, no one's, like, dying on the hill of it. They're all just very like, yes, well done. Good. I liked that you did that.
Yeah.
Which is fine. Not everything's about money. Except, as we are seeing in the current world, apparently it is.
Yes. Oh.
World. But yeah.
I feel like I made this angrier than it needed to be.
Oh no, it's perfect. It was my fault. I brought Jurassic World up.
I think it's important with what the book says about the world. So.
Yeah, and how they've just completely gone against those lessons, and you see it in almost everything. I mean, stuff I don't even know about. Like, they're remaking everything right now.
They are.
And yet some stuff they're remaking, I mean, it's like the Disney's kind of, isn't it? They're like, let's take the really successful ones and make them shit. Hooray, we made a lot of money. And it's like, or you could take the Chronicles of Prydain and give us a less tonally all over the place. There you go. That's fucking like 5 books. You like your franchises. That's literally 5 books. You made The Black Cauldron that nearly bombed your studio. I love it. But you don't trust my opinion, Disney. So make it good. Make it better. Like, ride that fantasy wave. Like, Game of Thrones is still in the ether. Just like, The Witcher is thriving. Like, just fucking do Chronicles of Prydain before we all move on when Dune comes out with Timothée Chalamet.
Oh, God.
So, like, just fucking grab it while it's there and, like, do Chronicles of Prydain, a 5-booked franchise television series, put it on Disney+, call it a day, get some good child actors in there, and just make it good for us, because it's fun, and you can get, like, just do it, you idiots, instead of fucking doing live-action Robin Hood, which will just look like Cats 2019.
I'm one of few people that kind of is weirded out by the, like, 79 Robin Hood, so to imagine it live action just gives me night terrors.
I don't know who looked at that and was like, that needs to be live action. Like,
you know what I want live action? The fucking Atlantis movie they made in, like, 2001.
And you want Joss Whedon on board in a bigger way than he was. It reeks of Joss Whedon, but he only had a small role in it. Give me diverse ensembles, underwater shots, like, everyone in that movie, like, everyone fancies everyone in that movie. That movie is, like, perfect. It's perfect. There you go. That's all
It
that needs to
is.
be said about it. So much of that, just, yeah. But, like, because it's fine, because I know if they fuck it up, I can just go back to the cartoon.
Exactly.
And it'll be fine. And I won't be angry about it, because at least they tried something original. God, I didn't realise that Michael Crichton was dead. That's really sad.
Yeah. I want to say, because I was born in 98, I want to say he died before I was born, but I remember being, like, 13, and they'd published one of his, like, manuscripts. Like, they'd found a near finished manuscript, and they published it, and I just remember looking at my mom going, the fuck is this? And she was like, what? I was like, he's been dead for, like, years. So that's another thing of people just, like, taking his, like, legacy and being like, ugh.
And shit all over it. So, lymphoma in early 2008.
Oh, wow, it was way more recent than I thought it was.
Yeah. But even, that's like 20 years ago. So it's still, like,
that's
a long time ago.
It's like 12 years. 12 years. I can do math.
I can't. I trust you. That sounds about right. He was 66.
I have a liberal arts degree.
I'll drink to that. Yeah, that's sad. He died unnecessarily young from illness.
Yeah. He also worked on ER, like the TV show. So to, like, figure that out is just... he had a PhD or something. What? And then was like, I'm gonna go make, like, art. And I'm like, hell yes. Because when you read the Jurassic Park book, like, I know more about chaos theory than I ever needed to.
Yeah. Literally, it, like, every time, like, the Jeff Goldblum character comes up in the book, it's like a page of just like,
science.
Theory. It's so
Yeah,
good.
I remember being like, I was playing, like, Trivial Pursuit or something with classmates in middle school, and there was like some sciencey question, and I just, like, ballparked it and went, chaos theory is the answer, and everybody was like, how did you know that? I was like, Jeff Goldblum. That's the only reason.
I would like to thank Jeff Goldblum for all of my knowledge from 1993 onwards. Yeah, and he did Westworld as well, the original.
Oh,
Westworld.
God, he did.
Like, he just loved his, like, fucked up theme parks.
He also did this book called Congo, which I've read, which is almost like Jurassic Park, but with, like, genetically enhanced evil gorillas. Hey. Like, there's people in a jungle, like, I think it's, like, some camp that got attacked, and people, like, scientists go down there, and they're like, what happened? And it turns out to be, like, evil gorillas. So some of his stuff is not, like, you know, Jurassic Park level good, but it's something.
I would read that. I've just got it up, and you're literally absolutely right. Everything you were saying, it's like, shows a peculiar race of grey-haired gorillas to be responsible for the murders. like
I read that in middle school. I was reading some shit that I shouldn't have ever touched. Like, I read Girl with the Dragon Tattoo when I was 13.
Oh my god.
My parents were like,
whatever.
She can read it. She can understand it. It's fine.
Yeah. No, I was on Series of Unfortunate Events at that point. There's a lot of, oh yeah, there's loads of him. I really want to read more stuff now. Oh yeah, Prey. I'd heard of Prey.
I think Andromeda Strain, I think, is his other, like, massive one.
Yeah, great guy. If you're quarantined, go check out Michael Crichton.
There you go.
Respectful. Yeah, I love him so much. I love reading the book. I want to read Is The Lost World a novel?
Yes. Yeah.
Nice.
I think there's a line, and I will never forget this, but it's like, you don't go into a place with poisonous chickens if you aren't sure your vehicles are gonna hold up. That's like a Malcolm line.
Nice.
I'm like, this man knew how to write dialogue.
Love it. Yeah, definitely gonna be reading that. But yeah, thank you.
Yes, thank you.
Movie. So yeah, thank you so much. Who are you? Do you have anything you want to plug? Where can we find you?
I have social media, but I have to spell out my social media because it's got my middle name in it and it's spelled weird. So on Instagram, I'm Maggie Rachael, but it's spelled RACHAEL_. And then on Twitter, it's Maggie_Rachael. So, and then RACHAEL because my parents are weird. Other than that, you know, I do some writing, but it's, you know, kind of everywhere. But if you're interested in me screaming about dinosaurs, David Bowie, or feminism,
Woo!
Come talk to me.
I love all of those three things.
Yay.
So that's good. Yay, amazing. Thank you so much for listening, and we'll see you next time on Why This Film. Bye! Thank you so much for listening. If you enjoy Why This Film, why not head to iTunes and leave us a review? And you can now support Why This Film on Patreon from as little as £1 a month. Just head to patreon.com/Why This Film Podcast. You can find us on Facebook at Why This Film Podcast, on Instagram at Why This Film Podcast, and on Twitter at Why This Film Pod. If you'd like to come on the show and talk about your favourite childhood movie, email into us at whythisfilmpodcast@gmail.com.